just such a family from Rolling Meadows, Illinois. And throughout the election, we've sent him there for one last check.
What Richard and Mary Ann Johnson think of the presidential candidates has been making news for 4 years now.
I find any dead birds back here.
In 1972, National Public Television put Richard Johnson out on the road with the Democratic candidate for a week, looking to see how a typical middle-class suburban homeowner might vote.
Boy, what a wonderful experience for a little old voter from Illinois.
Even though he'd been a Democrat all his life, Johnson voted for Richard Nixon, and so did his wife. This year, on Labor Day, we went to the Johnsons' home here in Rolling Meadows, Illinois, just outside Chicago. We found Richard Johnson feeling that Jimmy Carter lacked experience and thinking that he would vote for President Ford. Mary Ann Johnson, who said she's a Republican, was leaning toward Ford, but had not written Carter off. She said she was waiting for the debates.
The first between presidential candidates in 16 years. And
2 weeks later, we watched the debates with the Johnsons, and this time, to her surprise, Mary Ann Johnson began to change her opinion.
Him in Hall, he seemed very confident, and I think he looks very strong.
Richard, on the other hand, remained committed to President Ford.
Up until I'm shown differently, I'm still in Ford's camp.
Finally, with all the debates over, we went back to the Johnsons a few days ago to see what decisions they'd made.
Maybe I'm a little bit conservative and so forth, though I'm a Democrat. I still, right now, unless something unusual happens, which I don't really know what it would be even, I would vote for President Ford.
I kind of would like Carter to get in there with a whole new administration and new fresh ideas, and he really sounds as if he can pull it together.
I don't know, there's something about him that I just can't, I just don't have the confidence to vote for him, really.
We wondered if the Johnsons' neighbors here in Rolling Meadows see the candidates the same way they do. Everybody here in Precinct 64 is white and mainly white-collar. Most of them are high school graduates, and many of them moved here out of the city in search of the good life.
Which candidate would you like to see win?
I'd like to see Carter get in. Oh.
We asked political science students from nearby Harper College to poll the precinct.
Okay.
In the last two presidential elections, people here voted for Richard Nixon.
Okay. Suppose the election were being held today. Which candidate would you like to see win? Ford, Carter, or another?
President Ford, definitely.
President Ford.
The feeling here is that Ford has to run just as strongly as Nixon did in these suburban precincts in 1972. The reason, Carter is expected to do well among conservatives downstate, and Mayor Richard Daley is expected to turn out a big vote from the populist Democratic wards in Chicago.
If the election were today, which candidate would you like to see win?
President Ford. President Ford.
Jimmy Carter. 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 Ford. Undecided. Ford. Female over 35, Ford. Female over 35, Ford.
How many people did you poll?
We polled 301 out of approximately 350 people who live in the 64th precinct.
How did it turn out?
Well, we polled 144 voters for Ford and 70 for Carter. And that comes out to approximately 49% for Ford and 23% for Carter.
How about among the people who haven't made up their mind? Did you ask them which way they're leaning?
Yeah, we had approximately 25% or 24% that were undecided, and this is just a little ways from the election. And those people we asked which way were they leaning, Ford or Carter, and approximately 30 said that they were going to vote for or leaning towards Ford, and 12 for Carter. And that turns out, if we add those in to those who have decided, still approximately 2 to 1 for Ford in this area.
Is Ford running as strongly in this precinct as Nixon did in 68 and 72?
Well, the boundaries of the precinct were slightly different because it has been redistricted. But we know that Nixon came in about 65% in 72.
But even a slight drop in this suburban precinct could be a signal that Ford is in trouble here. In a few days, the people of Precinct 64 will come here to Rolling Meadows High School to vote. We don't know if other white middle-class suburbs will vote the same way. One other fact we've turned up, unlike Mary Ann Johnson, who's for Carter, the women of this precinct are almost 3-to-1 in favor of Ford. We know that must mean something, but we just can't figure out what. I'm John Martin, and that's how it looks in Rolling Meadows, Illinois.
Well, let's see if we can shed some light on what that something might be. Of course, on election night,